Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Canadian Football Central. CFL content for the fans, by the fans. And we got another video coming up, this time for the Montreal Alouettes. Oh my goodness, kind of tripped over my words there. As Travis Theis, I never remember how to say it. I think it's Theis, yeah. Resigns on a 2-year deal for the Alouettes, extending him through the 2026 as well as the 2027 season. He is only 25 years old. Running back for the Alouettes, played last year on 70 carries, got 365 rushing yards, average 5.2. So that average was kind of where you wanted it to be. We'll just have to see what it looks like kind of continuing as he moves forward. Now, I guess, firstly, my question is, Rick, he'd only played 2025. Does he not get the 1+1 option, or is this them extending through that? I'm curious.
So this would have been his option year because last year was his first year. So this would have been his option year. So they just basically,
instead of doing the option where we're just going to give you this much.
Well, it's almost like the kind of like the Cameron Judge contract where it's like you're already signed for this year, but we'll sign you on for another year.
So it's basically just an extension of an existing deal.
Yeah, pretty much.
Per chance. Okay.
So it's interesting because you had 3 running backs last year. You have 2 this year. So hopefully they can stay healthy because some weeks you're guessing as to who's getting your touchdowns where.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. But
also, what I was going to say was this offense is going to look different next year.
Because Austin Mack was just released. Which that one shocked me because when they signed Austin Mack last year, it was like a 3 or 4 year deal. It was a long.
So it was a 4-year deal in 2024. So 18 months later, they released him. But the thing is, you have no McLeod Bethel-Thompson. You have no Sean Termas-Erlington. No Rambo. No Mack.
Does Jake Mayer end up in Montreal as the backup? Who knows?
I mean, at this point, you still have James Morgan signed.
I'm not going to
James Morgan be the backup.
Going to go from 4 to 2. We'll see. But the this is a strange one because for me, this Alouettes team is starting to look firstly Theis sticking around is a kind of a breath of familiarity sticking around in Montreal, but it's starting to look a little bit more different than I expected. I'm not gonna lie, I was shocked when I heard that Mack was released.
There's a little bit behind it, so I would
love to know.
I was following along with it, and it's the same thing that Drew Wolodarski had. So if you want, pull up Austin Mack's numbers.
Okay.
In 3 years, his first year was his only healthy year. He had 4 games in 2024, and he had 12 games this past year. So then, come February 1st, they had to owe him a $45,000 signing bonus.
Yeah.
So my thought process is, now again, this is just my thought process. Don't shoot the dog. Don't old yeller me or anything like that.
Don't old yeller me.
Even though he's 28 years old, he's had 1 full season in 3 years. He only played 2 or maybe 3 or 4 games last year.
Yeah.
12 games last year, 3 or 4 the year before. They were paying him $211,000 last year. I'm sure as years go on, it goes up a little bit more.
Yeah.
So they probably thought, okay, there's many other wide receivers out there. Because you figure with Austin Mack now, that's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 wide receivers that have had 500 yards more or 500 or more yards last season.
Yeah.
So just think of this. Austin Mack, Stephen Dunbar, Jared Stearns, Tommy Neal,
I don't want to
Joe
go too long.
Robicelli,
This turning
Rambo.
into a
No,
Mac
there's
video,
only a
but
few
no,
more.
I see. No, fair enough.
Meatfall, Curly Gittins Jr., Addison, Eberhardt, Rhymes, Brissett, White, and Johnson.
Yeah.
So, but so here's my thing with this Montreal re-signing. Who starts come week 1? Scott the Third or Theis?
I have to imagine that they see Tyson in a bigger role in terms of, like, because, I mean, if we just take a look to it, I can't remember if this was injury. So did Theis get injured this past year? Because I see he only played 12 games here.
So Scott the Third played 10 and had 418 rushing yards and 1 touchdown. Theis had 12 games played, 365 yards and 0 touchdowns. And then, if you include Sean Thomas Erlington, he had 11 games, 386 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So they kind of split one person's role between 3 people.
Yeah. Now, one thing I will say about Theis for starters, and this is where I think this is probably one big reason why Montreal is keeping him around and they got him to a 2-year deal. One thing to notice here, Rick, you got his rushing stats, receiving stats, punt returns, kickoff returns. This is a guy that they've put in a lot of different positions. They've put him at rushing, 365 on 70 carries, average 5.2, did well there. Receiving yards, he had 162 with 157 yards after catch, did decent there with 8.5. Maybe tries to get that up to 10, but again, when you have a running back that you're going to have as a dual threat, it's going to be harder to always get that full 10 from that. But then if you look at it, he had played some returner, whether that's kickoff return or punt return. So this is something where Montreal is not being afraid to kind of throw him around all over the place. So
I was going to say, you're also missing the big picture is that James Glatcher Jr., who's their normal returner, only played 9 games last year.
I know, but even if they view him as a guy that can be a reliable backup, you know what I mean? What I'm saying is that, like, sometimes, like, you sign a guy because you have a vision of what his main responsibility is. But sometimes you sign guys because you know that if shit hits the fan, it's an easy transition. Like, I'll give you a great example. This is a bit of a hockey analogy, but this is a great example. The Winnipeg Jets, usually, a lot of their guys that they drafted are centermen when it comes to forwards. They have a lot of centermen that they have play wing. Why is that? Because how many times do you get a situation where a centerman gets injured? Well, it's a lot easier if you could have, like, it's easier to make a centerman into a winger than it is to make a winger into a centerman. The responsibilities are a bit different, but then also the centerman has to know how to take the draw. The other thing, the advantage of that is if you're in a situation where you're taking a face-off and a guy gets kicked out of the draw, that winger can come in, he can take it. My point is that sometimes there are unforeseen circumstances. Maybe it's injury, maybe it's whatever, and you need to shuffle guys around. A guy like Theis that has experience as a returner, even if it's just 1 year, as a returner, as a rushing threat, as a receiving threat, that type of flexibility for a coach is useful. Being able to take him and put him where you need to put him. Because sometimes, like, you know, even like, because again, like if we look into the Alouettes, again, they had returners go down. They had to deal with a lot of injuries. Hell, they were on their 4th string quarterback at some point. Having guys that can bounce around, that flexibility is good for a coach. So I think that's one thing that Theis offers that maybe gets a little overlooked based on what I'm seeing here. But all in all, I think this decent move for the Alouettes. Is there anything else you got there, Rick?
No, that is it, my friends.
All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. Make sure you guys leave a like, share, rant, and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, if you guys haven't, make sure you guys join our Discord. Link in the description below to our Discord, where we discuss all things CFL, NHL, all sorts of sports stuff. So make sure you guys go there and keep the conversation going. And before we get going, Rick has some news to share regarding CFL free agency live stream happening over on Hamilton Sports Central.
On February 10th, we are going to be doing a live stream about 10 to 11 hours, maybe 12. We're going to be going in depth as to players that have retired, coaches, rumors, signings, where they fit on each team's roster. We're also going to be having some guests, and we might be doing some shopping. We'll have to see what I buy.
Watch Rick blow his paycheck. We'll see you guys next time.
Ha 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 ha.